All right, so 2-1 one-step equations. This is what we're learning. We will learn how to solve equations with coefficients. That's the word that we saw last time. Coefficients. We used our coefficients when we did the exponents, and I kept telling you, oh, you need to square that coefficient or cube that coefficient. We will learn how to solve equations with coefficients. Okay, here's the definition of a coefficient. The numerical, right, is a number, factor of a term that contains a variable. The numerical factor of a term that contains a variable. Here's the example for you guys. 3x.
How many examples do we have?
So we have the 3 being the coefficient and the x being the variable. So what do you guys think the co means in coefficient? What does that mean? What does it mean, DJ?
Together.
Together. They're together. So smart. I'm going to thank your English teachers for that today.
Power couples.
The next thing I want you guys to write down to define is the multiplicative inverse. Multiplicative inverse. I know you've heard inverse and you've heard multiply, but maybe not together. Multiplicative inverse are two numbers with a product of 1. What does product mean? What, James?
The multiply.
Right, multiply. Two numbers with a product of 1, such as 3/4 and 4/3. It's also called a reciprocal. You guys did a lot of reciprocal work, or you should have, in elementary school when you did fractions, right? And you divided by fractions. And I know how much you loved fractions, so we'll do more of them. Yay. Two numbers with a product of 1, such as 3/4 and 4/3, also called reciprocals. So here's what it looks like, okay? It's called the inverse property. This is a property. We're going to do a lot of properties this chapter. Okay? Move this up for you. So we have things like 7/8 times 8/7 equal 1. We have, you can have negatives. Negative 3/2 times negative 2/3 equals 1. The A over B, B over A stuff, that's just the generic formula. You cannot have zeros in the denominator here. It doesn't work. So that's why I put A, B cannot equal 0. So this is one of the properties. Do you guys remember on that pretest that you took and they said, list the property? Remember that? Some of you knew them. You're like, commutative, associative. I got really weird answers too, though. Maybe I'll make a list of the funny ones and I'll show you later. But they were fun. All those properties that you learned, gosh, all the way back in first grade, some of them, coming right back around. Okay, so let's do some examples of one step. You guys are going to get a chance to practice. Right after notes, we're going to practice, but I want you to have a few examples in case you forgot how to do these or you've never seen them. So the first example we have 3 plus x equals 14. You guys did this on page 110. We subtract the 3 because we're trying to make that 0, right? Like DJ said. You said that. And so we have x equals 11. Any questions on that one? That one's okay? All right. Starting off basic. Okay? Oh, need it? Got it? X equals 11. Okay. Then we have ones like this where we start off with the negative. So we need to add, right? We're doing the opposite operation, so we add. And we have negative 8 plus 4. Negative 8 plus 4. So you know last year when we gave you those integer quizzes, like every week, and we had 20 problems. Remember these? The negatives, remember all that? And by the end of it, you were like, I have a headache, right? This is why. Because you have to master these to do this next step, okay? All right, that one's pretty basic. If we divide, we have 4x equals 16. We divide by 4 on each side. I think we learned last year how to, remember we balanced the equation like that? If you had Mr. Martin, he had, did he have a little scale in there last year? Yeah. And he had little blocks. Remember those little foam blocks? Yeah. I think Mr. O'Hara did that too. I know I did that, but little foam blocks. Balanced. We were like combining like terms and balancing the equation and stuff. Yeah, you just forgot all last year. Okay. So we used some of that. And then we have ones like this. If we are dividing by a number, then we just multiply it. Cross multiply. Remember those? I hope so. Yep. Yep. Cross multiplying. You could have double negatives, so we're going to get positives. These are all kinds of things that come up, right? I'm just giving you examples. Okay? Now, does anybody think that if I give you these kinds of problems on a quiz or homework or test that you can get 100%? Guaranteed. Guaranteed 100%. So just maybe like 10 of you think you can get 100%. Guaranteed. I'm guaranteeing you. You believe me? Thomas, how would you guarantee that 100% on this type of problem?
Probably memorize these equations.
There's another way. James?
Just remember them.
Not remember them. There's another, like, this is like a guarantee, okay? This is like, I'm an infomercial right now. Money back guarantee. Yes. Oh, is that what you're going to say, DJ? Plug in your answer. What a great idea. Check your work. It's a great strategy. So check your answer, and this is how you do it. You should do this every time. And in fact, on a lot of these math worksheets and even in your book, it'll say, check your answer. It's not just there like to suggest. Okay? It actually does work. So if I solve this, say I have y minus 9 equals negative 18, and I want to solve for y, I could add 9, and I get y equals negative 9. Here's my answer. How do I know if I'm right? How can I find out if I'm right?
Just plug it in.
Plug it back in. That guarantees me 100%, right? Yeah. So I plug it back in. I plug negative 9 right back into the original equation. So now I can say, okay, wherever y was, I'll put that negative 9. Negative 9 minus 9, does that equal negative 18? Yes. So you can take your answer, whatever you get for your variable, plug it right back in. If it doesn't work out, do you think you should leave it?
No.
No. What should you do?
Just change the answer.
Try again, right? If it doesn't work out, don't leave it and move on. Obviously, it's wrong. So if I give you a quiz with 10 questions, all like this, should I see you guys plugging it back in and checking?
Yes.
Yes. If you turn it in and you miss half of them, and I don't see that you plugged it back in and checking, will I have mercy on you?
No.
No, probably not, huh? Check your answers. Okay, so quick summary. Let's do this one together. To solve one-step equations, we use the opposite operation. We add when we have a negative, we multiply when we have divide, we divide when we multiply. That's what we do. That's what we've learned. To solve one-step equations, we use the opposite operation. Okay guys, so I am going to pass out the worksheet